Power doesn't come from being kind. It doesn't come from being liked. True power comes from being untouchable mentally, emotionally, and strategically. The political philosopher Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that the most dangerous people in the world aren't the loud ones, not the emotional ones, but the ones who cannot be shaken, no matter what happens. He famously wrote that the man who controls himself controls everything. Why? Because once you master your own reactions, no one can manipulate you. Every insult, every betrayal, every attempt to control you simply loses its power. You become unpredictable, and in a world built on manipulation, that unpredictability makes you a force to be reckoned with. Think about it. Most people are slaves to their emotions. They're ruled by anger, pride, fear, or the desperate need for approval. They react instantly. They take everything personally. They crave validation, understanding, or love. But the Machiavellian mind doesn't need any of that. It moves in silence, observing, calculating, and waiting. It plays the long game while others burn themselves out fighting meaningless battles. Being untouchable means becoming immune to offense. When someone insults you, you don't react, you analyze their motive. When they lie to you, you don't argue, you remember the data point. When they betray you, you don't break down, you adapt your strategy. Every emotional reaction you give them is a key to your mind. Every outburst reveals exactly where you're weak. Machiavelli warned that your greatest danger isn't your enemies, but your own untamed emotions. If you can't control what moves you, you'll always be someone else's puppet. But if you can detach from the need for approval, from the fear of rejection, then no one can pull your strings. You become like a mirror reflecting everything but absorbing nothing. They can try to provoke you, but their words will fall flat. They can try to hurt you, but their attempts will only expose their own weaknesses. True strength isn't about being invincible. It's about being untouchable where it matters most, inside your own mind. You'll still feel pain, betrayal, and loss. You're still human, but you will never let those feelings define your next move. You'll understand, as Machiavelli taught, that life is a game of strategy, not of raw emotion. The one who stays calm while everyone else is losing their mind wins. The untouchable mind doesn't seek fairness. It seeks advantage. It doesn't chase validation, it builds influence. It doesn't beg to be understood, it makes itself indispensable. This mindset requires you to study human nature, not to judge it, but to use it. Every weakness, every fear, every desire you observe in others becomes a tool in your arsenal. Because while they are playing checkers, you are playing chess. Silence becomes your greatest weapon. Patience becomes your strongest armor. And observation becomes your ultimate power. People will consistently underestimate you because you're calm. They'll misread your silence as weakness, right up until the moment you make your move precisely, efficiently, and without warning. And that's when they'll finally realize you weren't sleeping, you were studying them. The untouchable person doesn't broadcast their plans, they move with quiet precision. They reveal absolutely nothing until it's too late for anyone to stop them. They speak little, but when they do, their words carry immense weight. They don't waste energy trying to prove they're right. They create situations where others realize it for themselves. That's how real influence works, not through shouting, but through quiet, calculated control. Machiavelli taught that to remain safe in a world of wolves, you must become the kind of wolf that no one dares to hunt. Not the loudest, not the strongest, but the one that no one can read, no one can provoke, and no one can use. To become untouchable, you must master the art of controlled detachment. Don't let success make you arrogant. Don't let failure make you desperate. And never, ever let your emotions dictate your moves. People who can't control their inner world will always lose to those who can. So, learn to listen more than you speak. Watch how people reveal their true selves in small moments, in a flash of envy, in a moment of panic, in a boast of pride. Never show your full hand. Never let them see what truly matters to you. The less they know, the more they will fear what they can only guess, and in that mystery, your power will grow. Machiavelli's secret wasn't about cruelty, it was about control. Control over perception, control over timing, and above all, control over yourself. Because the one who remains calm in the middle of chaos is the one who commands it. When you no longer seek comfort from others, their rejection loses its sting. When you no longer chase approval, their criticism becomes mere noise. When you no longer depend on their love or loyalty, betrayal becomes just another lesson. That's the moment you cross the line from being vulnerable to being untouchable. You might feel lonely at first because very few people walk this path, but that is the price of sovereignty. True freedom isn't found in the applause of the crowd. It's found in the quiet confidence of your own self-mastery. Machiavelli would tell you this: power belongs to the few who are willing to stand alone, think independently, and act strategically while others react emotionally. So be calm when they are angry. Be patient when they rush. Be silent when they boast. Every single time you resist the urge to react, you sharpen your edge. You grow colder, wiser, and more effective. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights into strategy and the human mind. See you in the next one. Have you ever noticed that when you become truly untouchable, people start sensing something different about you? It's like you're no longer vibrating on the same emotional frequency as everyone else. Their chaos can't disturb your peace. Their opinions no longer define your choices. And this makes them uneasy. They start to feel a strange discomfort around your calm because they simply can't read you, and people fear what they cannot read. Machiavelli believed that control over perception is the purest form of power. Think about it. If they can't predict your next move, they can't manipulate you. If they can't provoke you into a reaction, they can't weaken you. This is why the untouchable person always maintains a mask: calm, neutral, unreadable. But don't be mistaken, behind that mask lies calculation, sharp observation, and deliberate intent. In every arena of life, politics, business, even our personal relationships, emotion is the first crack your opponents will search for. They'll test your patience, push your buttons, and try to bait you into showing your hand. But if you can remain still, if you can let their noise just fade into the background, you win without ever having to fight. Because the moment you react, they own your mind. But the moment you refuse to react, you own theirs. Machiavelli warned that even kings fall when they lose control of their emotions. History is littered with powerful figures destroyed not by their enemies, but by their own anger, their jealousy, or their pride. To remain untouchable, you have to starve these emotions, feed only discipline. Because when emotion rules, reason dies, and when reason dies, power slips away. Being untouchable means mastering the art of restraint. It's about learning when to speak and when silence will strike deeper than any words could. It's knowing when to act and when patience will destroy your rivals more effectively than any direct attack. The weak think control means domination over others. The wise know that true control always begins from within. You'll notice that untouchable people never chase attention. They don't beg to be seen. They simply allow others to notice them on their own terms. And by the time they do, it's already too late. The aura of power has been built in silence, forged in discipline, and polished through careful observation. People are drawn to their presence because it feels stable, and in a world of constant instability, stability is magnetic. Now, Machiavelli's philosophy isn't about being cruel. It's about being effective. The untouchable person is unheartless, just disciplined, enough to keep their heart hidden until it serves a strategic purpose. They don't let compassion blind their judgment. Instead, they use empathy as a tool to read others more accurately. They strive to understand people deeply, but they never let people understand them fully. When you master this, your silence becomes intimidating, your calm becomes unsettling. People will project their own fears and doubts onto you because you reveal nothing. They will whisper, they will guess, they will assume, but they will never truly know. And in that fog of uncertainty you create, your control grows stronger. Machiavelli once wrote that a wise ruler should be both loved and feared, but if forced to choose, it's safer to be feared. He didn't mean fear through brutality. He meant fear through unpredictability. People fear what they can't control. So when your emotions are locked away behind a steady expression, when your plans unfold without warning, and when your moves are impossible to predict, you command respect and a healthy dose of fear without ever saying a word. Untouchable people are not those who never feel pain. They simply don't show it. They've learned to transform pain into power, loss into clarity, and betrayal into a valuable education. Every scar becomes a lesson. Every disappointment sharpens their strategy. They grow colder not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. You have to understand this. The world will test your boundaries again and again. Every person you meet will try to pull some emotion out of you: anger, pity, love, guilt. Each one is a potential doorway into your control. If you react, they enter. If you don't, the door stays locked. Over time, being untouchable doesn't just protect you, it elevates you. While others are wasting their energy reacting to every little thing, you're conserving yours to plan your next big move. While they are drowning in emotional storms, you're sailing steadily toward your goals with a clear mind. Eventually, people start to notice you move differently. You speak with purpose. You don't chase. You attract. You don't explain. You act. They can't figure out how you stay so calm when everyone else is panicking. They might call you cold, heartless, emotionless, but what they don't realize is that's your shield, not your weakness. Machiavelli would call this the art of ruling yourself. Before you can command others, you must first conquer your own impulses. Before you can outthink your opponents, you must silence your own inner chaos. That is the ultimate discipline and the rarest form of strength. So the next time someone tries to get under your skin, remember this: their goal isn't to win the argument. It's to make you lose yourself. Stay still, stay silent. Let them burn themselves out in their own noise while you watch in perfect calm. The longer you remain unshaken, the more they'll realize they have no power over you. And that's when you've truly won. Because true power isn't about domination or destruction, it's about being untouchable in a world that is built to break you. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content on mastering your mindset. See you in the next one. Have you ever felt drained by the world? Disappointed by people you trusted or blindsided by someone's betrayal? What if I told you there's a way to become untouchable? Not by building walls or shutting everyone out, but by fundamentally changing the way you operate. This isn't about becoming cold or heartless. It's about understanding power, human nature, and most importantly, yourself. It's about adopting a mindset that many of history's most influential figures, like Machiavelli, understood deeply. Being untouchable doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop depending. You learn to care by choice, not by weakness. You help when it aligns with your purpose, not when it drains your energy. Machiavelli believed that even kindness should serve a purpose, because blind compassion is just another leash that lets others control you. The untouchable mind operates from a place of clarity, not raw emotion. It sees the world as it truly is, not as we wish it would be. Let's be honest, most people prefer comfortable illusions to hard truths. They lie to themselves, they chase fantasies, they cling to empty promises, and they mistake comfort for real safety. But the Machiavellian mind sees the brutal reality. People are often self-serving. Loyalty can fade in an instant, and true, lasting power is the only thing that endures. Once you fully accept this, disappointment loses its sting. Why? Because you were already expecting it. Disillusionment, in a strange way, becomes your freedom. Think about it. When you no longer expect unwavering loyalty from everyone, their betrayal doesn't shatter your world. When you stop expecting the world to be fair, injustice doesn't catch you by surprise. You stop waiting for life to be kind, and instead, you start mastering how to navigate its cruelty with precision and grace. This is how you become untouchable. Nothing can catch you off guard because you've already seen it coming. You've studied human nature so deeply that you recognize the patterns: how people think, how they justify their actions, and even how they lie to themselves. And once you understand the pattern, you can rise above the game itself. Machiavelli famously wrote that it's far safer to rely on your own judgment than on the promises of others. This is a core principle of being untouchable. Dependence in any form is a weakness. The moment someone realizes you need them, whether it's for emotional validation, financial support, or social standing, they gain leverage over you. They own a piece of your control. But imagine this. What if you could walk away from anything or anyone without losing your sense of self? If you can do that, no one can ever truly trap you. This is the quiet, immense strength of the untouchable person. They never need asterisk. They choose asterisk. They don't beg for attention. They command it with their presence. They don't chase after opportunities. They create them. They don't live in fear of losing because they've already accepted that loss is just a part of the power dynamic. Every ending simply becomes a doorway to your next strategic move. As you begin to embody this, people will notice a change. They'll call you cold when you stop reacting to their drama. They'll say you've changed, that you're distant. They might even accuse you of being arrogant because you no longer live for their approval. Let them. Their discomfort is not your problem. It's simply a reaction to your newfound independence. The truth is, you've stopped dancing to their chaotic emotional rhythm. You've found your own tempo, and it no longer matches theirs. Perception is everything. Machiavelli taught that appearance is often more powerful than reality itself. The untouchable person understands this and uses appearance as a form of armor. They project an aura of calm even when chaos is swirling inside. They show strength even when they feel uncertain. They can smile when their opponents want to see them break. This isn't about being fake. It's about understanding that perception shapes the outcome of every interaction. When you appear unbothered, your enemies hesitate. They don't know how to react. When you appear confident, even in defeat, people instinctively believe you're still in control. It's a subtle form of psychological warfare, and it's been mastered for centuries. But here's the deeper truth, and it's the most important part. Being untouchable doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means rising above the noise. You still live and work among the same people, but your mind is elevated. You no longer crave recognition from others. You no longer feel the need to explain your worth. You operate on a foundation of logic, not a desperate need for validation. Your energy is far too valuable to be wasted on convincing others to like you or believe in you. If someone misunderstands you, you let them. If someone dislikes you, you let them. If someone doubts you, you let them. Why? Because their opinion changes absolutely nothing about your reality. You know who you are, and that unshakable inner certainty makes you immune to the outside noise. That, my friends, is real freedom. Machiavelli also taught that the world belongs to those who understand timing. The untouchable person knows when to act, when to wait, and crucially, when to disappear. They don't make impulsive moves driven by emotion. They move when it matters most. For them, every delay is a strategy. Every silence is an answer. Every retreat is just a setup for a much stronger return. This mindset makes you incredibly formidable in a world full of impulsive people. While everyone else is running on emotion-chasing approval, arguing over pride and burning energy on pointless gossip, there you are, calm, detached, and watching. And when you finally do make your move, it's decisive, it's unexpected, it's unstoppable. You'll start to notice a strange paradox. Your silence will begin to create noise. People will talk about you more when you say less. They'll wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, and why you're so impossibly calm. Their curiosity will turn into attention, and that attention will become a source of power for you. And all you did was master yourself. This is the secret of being untouchable. You gain control over others the moment you stop trying to control them. You learn to lead not through force, but through quiet influence. You dominate not through aggression, but through stillness. Because at the end of the day, after all the strategies, power plays, and quests for respect, the greatest victory is always internal. When your peace cannot be taken, when your emotions cannot be manipulated, and when your purpose cannot be broken, you have achieved what very few ever will: total control of yourself. And that is the ultimate power. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time. Have you ever felt that moment when the world just seems to slow down? When everything around you is a blur of noise and chaos, but for you, time stretches and clarity descends. This is the first sign you're reaching a state of being truly untouchable. You stop reacting on impulse. Instead, you observe, you interpret, and you only respond when it truly serves your purpose. This newfound distance gives you a superpower, foresight. You start to see what others miss entirely. You recognize the subtle patterns in people's behavior, the hidden motives lurking beneath their words, the traps they set that are cleverly disguised as acts of kindness. Niccolò Machiavelli, the master of power dynamics, understood this concept perfectly. He taught that true power isn't about brute strength or loud declarations, it's about awareness. The person who can see the unvarnished truth beneath all the layers of appearance is the one who holds the real, unshakable advantage. Think about it. Most people navigate life as if they're blindfolded, driven by raw emotion, their vision clouded by their own ego. But the untouchable individual? They see every angle, every possibility, every potential pitfall, before they even consider taking a single step. This is precisely why they rarely fall. They can walk through betrayal without becoming bitter, navigate chaos without a hint of panic, and endure loss without shattering into a million pieces. They don't waste precious energy asking, "Why is this happening to me?" It's a pointless question. Instead, they ask a much more powerful one, "What is this trying to teach me?" Every event, good or bad, becomes a piece of data. Every person they meet, a lesson. Life itself transforms into a grand chessboard, and they are the only player who has read the entire rulebook. But reaching this level of mastery demands a price, and that price is often isolation. Machiavelli warned that wisdom inherently creates distance. The moment you stop being easily manipulated, the moment you become emotionally unpredictable, the people who once benefited from your softness will start to feel uncomfortable. They'll label you as cold or distant. What they truly miss is the old version of you, the one who reacted instantly, who cared too quickly, who forgave far too easily. That version of you was a source of comfort for them. This new, unshakable version? It threatens their entire worldview. Becoming untouchable means you have to accept that a degree of loneliness is a natural byproduct of strength. It's not because you no longer desire connection, but because you absolutely refuse to be dependent on it for your sense of self-worth. You stop seeking validation from crowds that couldn't possibly comprehend your vision. You stop shrinking yourself down just to be liked. You learn to stand alone, firm in your own power, because your independence is terrifying to those who are still bound by emotional chains. Machiavelli taught that appearances control society, but it is solitude that controls the soul. In those quiet moments of silence, you finally meet your true self. You confront your fears, you understand your limits, and you unearth your own hidden motives. It's a process of burning away all the false layers that the world has forced upon you over the years. You stop pretending to be gentle when strength is what's required. You stop feigning weakness just to be accepted. You become your most honest, undiluted version, sharp, steady, and entirely self-contained. And people will absolutely test this newfound calm. They'll try to provoke you, just to see if they can get a rise out of you, to feel a flicker of power. They'll lie to your face, hoping to watch you lose control. But you won't. You'll simply look at them, not with anger or frustration, but with a quiet, almost detached understanding. You'll realize that they are still living as prisoners of their own emotions, trapped in a cage that you have long since escaped. And that's why nothing they do, nothing they say, can ever truly touch you anymore. You'll notice another profound transformation as well. Your own energy begins to shift. You start attracting a completely different kind of person. Not the loud, attention-seeking types, and not the weak-willed either. You begin to draw in the focused, the deliberate, even the dangerous ones, those who recognize real power when they see it, especially when it's disguised as stillness. These individuals won't try to manipulate you. They will respect you. Because real power always recognizes its own reflection. Machiavelli famously wrote that a leader must learn how to be both a fox and a lion, cunning and sly when necessary, but fierce and decisive when required. The untouchable person embodies both of these archetypes seamlessly. They don't feel the need to show off all their strength, but they never try to hide it either. They walk lightly through the world, they speak only when it matters, and when they strike, it is with surgical precision. When they act, it's final. When they make a decision, it's irreversible. You stop engaging in pointless arguments. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself. You certainly don't waste time trying to prove your worth to anyone. You've come to the profound realization that any time spent defending yourself is time stolen directly from your life's mission. So you remain silent while others gossip. You build while others brag. You observe while others react. And in time, those very same people will look at you and wonder how you became so powerful, so influential without ever having to raise your voice. The untouchable person knows that real power doesn't need to announce its arrival. It moves quietly, operating behind the curtain, shaping outcomes without ever showing its hand. The loud ones crave recognition. The silent ones are the ones who control it. Machiavelli would say, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both," but the untouchable person understands an even deeper version of that truth. It's better to be respected without effort, feared without intention, and observed without revealing anything at all. As you continue to evolve on this path, you stop fighting battles that don't matter. You stop wasting your breath correcting lies, because you know that truth has a way of revealing itself in its own time. You stop trying to prove your loyalty to those who have already shown their doubt. You stop chasing apologies that will never come. Every single ounce of energy you conserve strengthens your focus, and every moment of silence you choose adds another layer to your mystery. And here is the secret that Machiavelli hinted at, but so few ever truly understood. The untouchable are not forged in privilege or ease. They are carved from pain. Every betrayal, every rejection, every fall you've ever experienced has molded you into this formidable form. The world tested you again and again, and you learned how to stop breaking. Your detachment wasn't born from arrogance. It was a necessary tool for survival. Now that pain has become your power. That self-control has become your weapon. And that calm, that cold, unnerving, unshakable calm has become your impenetrable shield. So, the next time they try to shake you, the next time they try to pull an emotional reaction from you, just offer a quiet smile. Because you've already played this game and you've mastered it, you have become the player they can't predict, the opponent they can't control, and the presence they can no longer touch. And that is the final level Machiavelli spoke of, the point where you no longer have to chase control. Because you are control. When the rest of the world moves in noise and panic, you move in silence and certainty. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one. Their confidence shatters, their self-worth, which is so tied to what others think, just evaporates. Their emotions pull them around like a puppet on a string. You see their so-called strength for what it is, a performance. It's loud, it's reactive, it's completely unstable. And in those moments, you realize that your silence, your stillness, your restraint is worth more than all their noise combined. Machiavelli understood that the foundation of real power isn't about dominating others, it's about perception. The very moment you appear unshaken by the storm, people start to believe you know something they don't. They sense you have a hidden plan, a strategy they can't possibly see. And that illusion, that powerful aura of quiet certainty, becomes your greatest weapon. You don't need to prove you have power when people can already feel it in your presence. Now, being untouchable doesn't mean you're emotionless. Far from it. It means you own your emotions instead of being owned by them. You can feel a surge of rage and still speak with a calm, measured voice. You can feel deep pain and still make logical, rational decisions. You can feel immense love and still see a situation with perfect clarity. This level of control is genuinely terrifying to those who can't achieve it. Think about it. How do you even begin to fight someone who feels everything but shows nothing? Most people crumble the second they're misunderstood. They rush to defend themselves, to desperately explain their intentions, to seek validation from anyone who will listen. But the untouchable person? They let misunderstanding hang in the air. They have the wisdom to know that time is the ultimate judge. It always exposes the truth. They don't waste precious energy or words trying to convince the blind to see. Their silence isn't a sign of weakness, it's the ultimate confidence that they do need to be understood to remain powerful. Machiavelli would have called this the art of selective expression. You reveal only what strengthens your position and conceal everything that could possibly be used against you. The untouchable person knows that mystery is a form of armor. Every secret you keep adds another layer of protection. Every emotion you master becomes a hidden blade, ready in reserve. The less they know about you, the less they can ever hurt you. And you'll notice something fascinating happen once you detach emotionally. People will start chasing your attention. The very same people who ignored you when you were seeking their approval now crave a reaction from you. They want to see you angry, flustered, or desperate, anything to prove they still have some power over your state of mind. But when you remain calm, when your silence stretches beyond their patience, they break long before you ever have to make a move. This is psychological warfare, the subtle kind Machiavelli so admired. You win not by force, but by creating an imbalance. You let them burn themselves out trying to provoke you, while you simply conserve your energy. In their attempt to destroy you, they end up destroying themselves. There's a cold, calculated beauty in that. You start to realize that most people aren't your enemies. They're just slaves to their own weaknesses. They project chaos outward because they're drowning in it internally. The untouchable person doesn't fight back, they rise above. They don't argue with noise. They let the silence become their quiet, devastating vengeance. Power, as Machiavelli taught, is never just given to you. It's taken, seized through the deliberate control of perception and, most importantly, of self. You can't possibly rule others until you've completely conquered yourself. And that conquest doesn't happen overnight. It's forged in the fires of disappointment, heartbreak, and failure. It's built every single time the world tests you, and you choose composure over a knee-jerk reaction. In those critical moments, you feel the pain, but you don't surrender to it. You feel the rage, but you don't let it rule you. You feel that powerful urge to prove yourself, to shout your worth from the rooftops, but you wait. You let time and your results do the talking instead. And that's when you feel a fundamental shift inside you. You stop needing to win arguments because you're too busy winning in reality. The untouchable person walks with a quiet confidence that needs no announcement. Their presence speaks for them. They don't seek revenge. They simply outlast everyone who ever tried to harm them. They don't compete for the spotlight. They let their achievements make all the noise. Machiavelli would say that fortune favors the prepared and preparation begins in the mind. The untouchable person trains for silence like a warrior trains for battle. Every emotion that once broke them now becomes an exercise in control. Every betrayal becomes a masterclass in human nature. Every failure becomes valuable data for the next strategic move. Eventually, this detachment becomes second nature. You stop reacting not because you're forcing it, but because chaos no longer surprises you. You've seen too much, you've learned too much to be so easily disturbed. You begin to see the deeper pattern, that everyone and everything has a motive, and most of them are fleeting and temporary. Machiavelli wrote that a leader must always appear virtuous, but be ready to act according to necessity. The untouchable person embodies this. They know when to be kind, when to be firm, when to smile, and when to stay completely silent. They adapt like water, calm, fluid, and ultimately unstoppable. The crowd will never understand this kind of strength. They'll call you emotionless, arrogant, or too distant. But what they fail to realize is that your distance is your protection, your calm is your power, and your silence is your mastery. And one day, when chaos erupts all around you, when everyone else is losing their composure, they will look to you. They will look to you for direction. Because even though they once mocked your stillness in a crisis, they'll crave it. They'll feel your steadiness as a kind of gravity, the quiet, central force that keeps everything from falling apart. And in that moment, you'll realize something profound. Being untouchable was never about being feared. It was about being centered. So unshaken, so in control of your inner world that even life itself can't pull you off balance. That is the hidden wisdom behind Machiavelli's teachings. True power doesn't belong to the loudest or the most ruthless. It belongs to those who can remain silent, patient, and unbothered while everyone else loses themselves to the storm of emotion. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights on mastering your inner world. We'll see you in the next one. Have you ever felt the energy in a room shift the moment someone walks in? They haven't said a word, but their presence alone commands attention. People feel it before they speak. They sense a quiet strength, a calm that isn't weakness but a weapon. This is the aura of the untouchable, the silent gravity of complete self-control. Machiavelli understood that power has two forms. There's external power, built on wealth, status, or followers. It's fragile and can be taken away in a heartbeat. But then there's internal power, the uncheckable control of your own mind. This is the only power that can never be stolen. The untouchable person focuses solely on building this inner empire, because once it's built, no betrayal, no loss, no humiliation can ever tear it down. This inner strength isn't built in comfort, it's forged in fire. It's built in those moments where you wanted to break but refused. It's forged through times when people let you down, but you chose to remain silent and strategic instead of reacting. Every hardship you endured hardened your discipline. Every disappointment refined your patience. Every failure taught you how to persist without losing your focus. This is the hidden training of every untouchable soul, turning pain into precision. People often mistake this deep calm for apathy. They might think you don't care. But the truth is, you simply care differently now. You're no longer driven by the need to prove yourself, to please others, or to fit in. Your focus has shifted. You care about clarity, direction, and control. You've consciously replaced emotional chaos with strategic distance. You've learned that your inner peace is far more valuable than anyone's attention. And because of that fundamental shift, no one can use your emotions against you anymore. Machiavelli wrote that a true leader must know how to use both the nature of man and the nature of the beast. The untouchable person perfectly balances both. They have the human side that understands emotion and the beast-like side that remains unmoved by it. They can read the feelings of others with incredible accuracy while keeping their own completely hidden. They intuitively know when to be charming and when to be formidable, when to step back and when to advance. This isn't about manipulation, it's a higher form of survival. When you reach this level, you start to see how predictable most people are. It's like you can see the invisible strings that control them, their ego, their envy, their insecurities, their constant need for validation. You can anticipate their next move before they even make it. You stop reacting and start adjusting. You become like a shadow, always present, always aware, and always one step ahead. This is the essence of what Machiavelli called wisdom, not being morally perfect, but having strategic awareness. The untouchable person also masters the power of silence. In a world where everyone is shouting to be seen, your silence becomes a storm. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to fill the void with their own anxieties and fears. They start projecting, imagining what you might be thinking or what you might be planning. Often, their imagination becomes more powerful than any words you could ever say. Machiavelli knew this well. The most effective leaders rarely speak much. They let others reveal their own cards. Your silence makes people expose their insecurities. Your calm makes them reveal their true intentions. And the more they talk, the more you learn all without giving anything away. This is how the untouchable wins, not through loud aggression, but through controlled absence. Eventually, you stop competing altogether. Competition implies you are on the same level as others and you've risen beyond that. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth to those who can't comprehend it. You don't seek revenge because you see that their own weaknesses will inevitably lead to their downfall. Your only focus now is mastery of your mind, your time, and your destiny. The untouchable person doesn't chase opportunities. They attract them. They don't beg for loyalty. They inspire it through their own integrity. They don't chase validation. They embody it. They don't fear being alone. They use isolation as a forge to sharpen their focus. Every moment of solitude strengthens their resolve. They understand what Machiavelli meant when he said, "He who depends on others' fortune ruins his own." Dependence makes you vulnerable. Independence makes you dangerous. But detachment, that is what makes you untouchable. When nothing outside of you can disturb your inner peace, you hold the only kind of freedom that truly lasts. And that freedom changes your entire energy. You begin to speak more slowly, move with more purpose, and think before you act. You stop wasting your words and your emotional energy on things that don't matter. People sense this shift. They start to treat you differently. They can't quite figure you out, and they can't predict your next move. You become a question mark in a world of open books. And as Machiavelli knew, mystery is a profound form of power. Every insult, every slight, every attempt to control you becomes irrelevant because you've transcended their game. You don't react, you don't explain. You simply outlast. You now understand that true control isn't about dominating others. It's about refusing to let others dominate your inner world. You will find peace in the very situations that once triggered you. You will walk through chaos with steady steps. You will face betrayal and respond with a calm that frightens those who expected you to fall apart. That is the moment you realize you are no longer the person who once broke so easily. You have evolved beyond mere reaction. You've entered the realm of quiet dominance, the level Machiavelli admired most. It's the kind of power that doesn't need to announce itself because everyone in the room already feels it. You've become the one who stands still while the world around you trembles. The one who watches patterns unfold while others panic. The one who can smile when others rage and act decisively when others freeze. And when they look into your calm, unreadable eyes, they will finally understand the truth Machiavelli whispered centuries ago. The most dangerous person is not the one who strikes the hardest, but the one who cannot be moved. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content on mastering your inner world. Until next time, stay strong. Have you ever walked so long in silence that it started to feel like a language? Have you ever learned to hold your emotions so tightly that something inside you just crystallizes? It's not arrogance, it's not pride. It's a kind of inner armor that forms a profound clarity. You start to see people for who they really are, not who they pretend to be. You see life not through a hazy filter of hope, but with the sharp precision of truth. This is the moment you become unshakable. Machiavelli understood a fundamental human flaw. Most people destroy themselves simply trying to appear strong. They overreact, they overexplain. They lay all their cards on the table just to feel a fleeting sense of control. But real strength never needs to announce itself. It doesn't shout from the rooftops or beg to be recognized. It simply exists, silent, certain, like a blade hidden beneath a cloak, ready but unseen. The truly untouchable person knows their greatest weapon is unpredictability. You never show the same face twice. To some, you are kind. To others, you are distant. To your enemies, you are completely unreadable. They can't put you in a box, and that confusion, that inability to categorize you, breeds a strange kind of respect. Machiavelli wrote that men should either be treated generously or destroyed. Why? Because they'll seek revenge for small injuries, but they are powerless against a great one. The untouchable person embodies this principle. You never have fight. You never have forgive. When you strike, it's decisive. When you walk away, it's final. And in that finality and that absolute certainty lies your true power. You've reached a point where you stop giving second chances to situations that drain your peace. You no longer feel the need to explain your silence or justify your absence. You've stopped attaching yourself to people or things that don't help you grow. You move with the quiet grace of someone who owes nothing to anyone, because you've already paid your dues in pain and patience. Machiavelli would say that fortune favors the prepared, but he'd also whisper that fortune fears the disciplined. And why? Because discipline means you can't be tempted, you can't be bought, and you can't be swayed. You've metaphorically killed the version of yourself that once craved approval just to feel alive. Now you act from a place of pure purpose, cold, clear, and deliberate. A key part of this journey is mastering the art of invisibility. You realize you don't always need to be seen. In fact, sometimes power grows best in the dark. While others are desperately seeking the spotlight, you are quietly building in the shadows, forging connections, gathering influence, and honing your skills. Then, one day, you emerge with something so solid, so undeniable, that people think it happened overnight. But you know the truth. It was born in the shadows, crafted in silence. That's how real power works. It's unseen until it's absolute. And by the time you reveal yourself, there's nothing left for them to attack. They can't mock your silence anymore because now they understand it was strategy. They can't question your distance because now they see the incredible results it produced. What they once dismissed as cold, they now call wise. What they saw as detachment, they now recognize as power. Machiavelli taught that a leader must always control appearances. The untouchable person lives by this rule every single day. You never let your emotions become public property. You never let others witness your inner chaos. When you are angry, you become quiet. When you are hurt, you become composed. When you are confused, you appear patient and thoughtful. The world sees only stillness, a calm surface, only you know the storm raging inside. And that powerful illusion is what keeps you untouchable. Because in the end, perception rules reality. If people believe you are calm, they will treat you with caution. If they believe you are confident, they will naturally defer to your leadership. And if they believe you cannot be moved, they will simply stop trying to move you. This is the subtle genius Machiavelli wrote about: winning without fighting, commanding without ever raising your voice. This mindset also changes your approach to conflict. You understand that revenge is a complete waste of energy and motion. You don't need to destroy your enemies. You simply let their own flaws do it for you. You remove yourself from the equation and allow their own instability and lack of discipline to finish the job. Nothing dismantles an arrogant person faster than their own unchecked ego. You just need the patience to wait and watch it happen. Patience becomes your sharpest weapon. In a world that prizes speed and immediacy, you move slowly. In a world of chaos, you move with precision. Every delay becomes a part of your strategy. You don't rush opportunities. You let them ripen on the vine. You don't chase attention. You let curiosity draw people to you. You don't rush revenge. You let time deliver justice in its own perfect way. Machiavelli would tell you, if you wish to remain in power, be the calmest person in every storm. Because chaos consumes the reckless, but it feeds the prepared. The untouchable person knows this truth deep in their bones. When others panic, they calculate. When others crumble, they observe. When others give up, they adapt. You never stop moving, just slower, smarter, and quieter. And as the years pass, you'll look back and realize something extraordinary. The power you once sought from others was never real. The validation you chased, the respect you begged for, it all meant nothing. True power was inside you the entire time, buried under your own reactions, just waiting for your silence to finally uncover it. Now you walk differently, not with pride, but with purpose. You speak less because you understand that every word reveals a piece of your mind. You listen more because you know that knowledge is power disguised as patience. You forgive quietly, but you never, ever forget because memory is your armor. Machiavelli's wisdom now lives through you. You've become the kind of person others whisper about. They wonder what drives you, what you're thinking, what you might do next. But they'll never know because that mystery is your greatest strength. You are no longer seeking to be unbreakable, you already are. You are no longer striving to be feared, they already fear what they cannot understand. You are no longer trying to be untouchable, you've simply become it. Not through arrogance, not through cruelty, but through the complete and total mastery of yourself. Because when the mind cannot be shaken, the world cannot touch you. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content. I'll see you in the next one. The noise died down when you learned to be still. The attacks lost all their meaning when you saw them for what they were, acts of desperation. This is Machiavelli's hidden lesson. It's not just about how to rule others, but how to rule yourself so completely that the world loses its grip on your emotions. Have you ever noticed how some people just seem unshakable? They move through life with a quiet confidence that nothing can disturb. This isn't weakness. It's a profound, silent strength. This is the kind of power that doesn't need to shout, to prove, or to react. It simply exists, steady and unwavering. When you reach that point, where nothing external can disrupt your inner stillness, you become powerful in the most subtle yet effective way. You find yourself letting go of the need to explain, to defend, or to desperately seek understanding from others. Why? Because you realize that true power isn't found in being understood by everyone. But you remain still. And that stillness, that refusal to be drawn into their chaos, is what confounds them. They can't comprehend someone who refuses to be moved, who won't play their game. And in their confusion, their attempts to destabilize you fall apart. That's what makes you untouchable. The famous political philosopher Machiavelli once wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But there's a deeper truth to be found here. The person who cannot be controlled by their own emotions is beyond the simple dynamics of fear and love. They operate on a completely different level. They've mastered their inner world, and as a result, the outer world has less of a grip on them. When you achieve this state, you start moving with precision, not impulse. Every action is deliberate. You speak only when it strengthens your position, when your words carry weight and purpose. Silence becomes a strategic tool. Every pause, every calm response, every moment of quiet observation is a calculated move. You're not running from conflict or avoiding battles. Instead, you're choosing your ground. You're deciding when and how to engage, ensuring that when you do, it's on your terms. And when you do decide to act, it's decisive. It's final. There are no drawn-out arguments, no desperate explanations, no emotional chaos. There's only clarity and control. You've learned one of life's most important lessons, that seeking revenge is a waste of energy. Time, you realize, is the ultimate judge. It has a way of exposing the fragile and rewarding the patient. So you wait, you observe, and you let things unfold naturally. You stop chasing validation. The endless hunt for attention and approval becomes a distant memory. Instead, you let your actions and the results they produce speak for themselves. This creates a natural curiosity in others. They wonder what you're doing, how you're achieving things so quietly. You've stopped fighting for peace because you've started carrying it within you. Your peace is no longer a destination. It's your constant companion. This is the true mastery that can be gleaned from a Machiavellian mindset, not the cynical manipulation of others, but the ultimate control over yourself. Your emotions are disciplined, not suppressed. Your mind is sharp and focused. Your actions are deliberate and impactful. When they see your uncheckable calm, your quiet determination, they can't help but feel a sense of respect, even awe. That's the source of your untouchable nature. It's not about physical strength, social status, or accumulated wealth. It's about complete and total self-control. It's about becoming the calm center of your own universe, a silent force that commands respect without ever demanding it. Thank you so much for watching. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content on mastering your inner world. We'll see you in the next one.